Welcome to Real Estate Success DFW, the podcast where top producing agents from Dallas-Fort Worth come together to share their stories and strategies behind their success. I'm Shaune Corbett, your host, and with over 300 million sold in the local real estate market and the honor of being best of breed multiple times, I know what it takes to make it in this market. Each episode, we're going to dive into the world of real estate, learning from the very best in the industry. If you're ready to level up your game, we're in the right place. Let's get started. Thank you guys for joining us, Real Estate Success DFW. We have an incredible guest I've been chasing for a long time. She's finally agreed to come on the show and let us have a good, intense interview today. So I appreciate it. Thank you for joining, Theresa.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here on a Friday, nonetheless.
Going back, I knew of you probably at least 6 to 7 months ago. It's actually been a while, and I knew that you had a podcast, and I knew that you had your team huddles and things like that. You've been doing for a while, and you've been getting real comfortable getting on video, getting on camera, talking to people, and you've made it a really big and important part of your business. And I want to talk a little bit about that later, because I think it's an element that most agents have a lot of intimidation about. I'm not trying to be anything beyond what I am. I know you're being very natural and organic in who you are. If you can learn to do that and be comfortable, you can do this. You can get on video, you can have conversations and podcasts. So I had interviewed Ashley Gentry, and then I got connected at one of the big real producer events, and I met Michelle and her husband. And I kept telling them, I was like, you guys all keep talking about Theresa, where's she at? Like, I want to meet with her as well, because I know that she'll be a really good guest on my podcast. She has a good following. She's been very successful running a team in a heavy competitive market. And she's been at it for a while. Most people don't last. So I said, I got to talk with Theresa. And then all of a sudden I go to one of your events and there you are, you were there. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to ask you directly.
Well, I'm so honored that you did. Happy to be on today and love what you're doing. And, it's all about just getting outside your comfort zone. And you always say you kind of look like on video, like what you look like, sound like what you sound like. So we're going to just put ourselves out there. This is what it is.
Be natural, right? So the one thing, let's talk a little bit about, I always got to start with this, so why are you selling real estate? And I ask that in a joking aspect because most of us, we go to high school, we may go to college, and being a real estate agent generally is never on our radar. So was that on your radar? Did you do something else and it fell in your lap as an opportunity?
So I married into a real estate family. I got married at 19. My father-in-law was in mortgage. My mother-in-law at the time owned a RE/MAX franchise. And so one of my very first jobs, I got married at 19. That's a whole other thing. Still married to Tommy, 26 years, do the math. But I started working for my father-in-law in his mortgage company. Young age, had really no clue what I was doing, but he taught me and mentored me, and then eventually went to work for a home warranty company, learned sales and marketing, got my license in 2006, and then started on the leadership side at Keller. So I've been in a team leader role at Keller Dallas Preston Road since 2013. So kind of had just really, this industry is incredible. The best people are here in real estate. And I'm so grateful just to all of the people that have invested in me and poured in me along the way, and just feel very blessed to be in an industry that allows us to create incredible businesses, to impact people's lives. And just, there's so many aspects of real estate. You can really just take your talents and go build something great. So it's been an amazing journey. But no, as a kid, never thought I would be in real estate. It was never on my radar. That is for sure.
And one thing about Theresa, she's always optimistic and has, a positive disposition. I think that's a great quality because we're in a market that's tough. It's been negative, and a lot of people are very negative about it.
Yeah.
And we've been through tough markets before. I've been around since, I think it started about 2006, about the same time you did.
Yeah.
And of course we went through the foreclosure crisis, but nobody knows anything about how that went. I'll tell you one funny thing. I was vice president of human resources for a company, and I worked there for about 10 years, but I had a license on the side, and I could explain that separately, but I did. And I had about 20 listings. Okay. I'm working, 55 hours a week as an HR, vice president. And I had 20 listings because nothing was selling, and I just kept collecting them. And I would hang on to some of them for, 8, 9, 10 months, a year, and
Yeah.
it's just normal. And no one can really imagine what that's like. And our market is hard right now, but we're 90 days in, everybody's screaming.
Yeah.
It's
We're
just
screaming over 8 or 9 weeks, not 8 or 9 months.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're screaming and after just a few months and they're losing their mind. I remember when you just had no chance of selling, you just have to wait until one buyer has to buy it. There's no choice, right?
But I
Um,
think all about perspective. And everything in life is about perspective. I had a team leader from Keller Williams out in Maui was here this week shadowing me for a day, and we were hanging out. And she said, "What have you learned in 10 years of leading a top brokerage? Like, what have you learned?" And I thought, well, that's a great question. And I think the biggest thing I would say it's perspective. The highs are never as high as you think. The lows are never as low as you think. None of it lasts forever. You have to learn to kind of ride the seasons, whether it's in life or in business or in our industry. There's always seasons. And what is great now will change. And what's challenging now will also change. And so I think perspective, just you get that with a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of time, you start just to have kind of a different perspective, and it's a powerful thing.
so you said you were in leadership, you were doing production, you showed success there, and then you move into leadership. What did your success get affected by being in leadership? Is that just, or is this like is it a voluntary thing? You just kind of like, my next step to learn more about running more of the broker operations to step into a leadership role. That's my sacrifice. Or, I wonder how that kind of plays out. How that affect you?
So Tommy and I, we have a youth ministry background. So my passion in life has always been people development. I love sales. I'm a salesperson at heart. I've done a lot of sales, but I love developing people. I love coaching people. I love recruiting, hiring, training, people development. And so the leadership side for me, I love the real estate industry, but being able to do the people development side in the real estate industry was just a gift. So sacrifice, no, definitely not a sacrifice. I think an amazing opportunity. I love what I do every single day. I feel incredibly blessed to have the role that I have and be able to be in business with the people that I'm in business with and help them grow and succeed. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I love the optimism, right? So you know that you're making contributions and it's building. You may not get a direct return on it, but you know that you're building something. And we're building a community. We're helping others, and there are a lot of people that remember what you did for them. Those are like little deposits that are paid somehow, some way, and it doesn't matter how. You know, you get the benefit, and even if it's just a personal satisfaction benefit, there's gratification from that too.
Absolutely. Yep.
Um, and I love that you're doing youth ministry. 5 years ago, we couldn't talk about Jesus, and I think we can today. It's really strange how everything's like flipped.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that we can be a lot more open about faith and things like that. And I know you have. I've seen some of the podcasts and things you've shared, and I think that's a great thing today.
Yeah, I do. I feel like, when you're talking about, one of the hot topics in business is building your personal brand. And I think every real estate professional, every business professional needs to really find your voice, decide who your avatar client is going to be, who are you speaking to, and what is your message, whatever side of business that you're on. And so, like you said, you kind of started this whole conversation with just being authentically you. For me, my faith is a huge part of of who I authentically am. You can't know Theresa Flood if I don't share that part of life with you. And so it is great that I think we have an opportunity right now to be bold and to be clear and just to be ourselves. And everybody gets that same opportunity to just be them.
So we talked a little bit about mindset, but I know that was one of the components that's really important to me. Do you have anything to add in the mindset space, in working and training with agents or even on yourself and how you approach your business and your teaching and your training and your podcast? What does mindset play in those spaces?
I think everything. I think mindset is a daily job. It's not a one-time choice. It's not a one-time experience. We all get the choice every single day, how we're going to choose to think, our attitude. For me, that morning routine is so key because I know that I have to invest in myself and my growth in my spiritual life, my mental health, my learning and growing, all of that, my physical health. I have to invest in that every single day if I want to see great returns. And so it's a choice to make every single day. So I think the mindset piece is so key. And yes, my podcast name is The Upside. So I so I definitely am. There's a lot of talk about toxic positivity and all of that. And I do really believe that positivity isn't about ignoring what is bad. It's not about shoving things under the rug and saying there's not challenges, but it is about saying in the challenges, I still choose to be grateful. In the challenges, I'm still going to look for the gold in it. I'm going to be thankful, not necessarily for all things, but I'll be thankful in all things. And when we can take that kind of perspective, it changes everything we're seeing and everything we're looking at.
Sure. Yeah, and I think about happiness is a big driving factor for people. Unfortunately, it's a conditional thing, right? Happiness can come and go,
Yeah.
but we should have joy in all things.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people take for granted and they don't appreciate or understand. They just feel like, well, my circumstance determines how I should feel. And it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's a choice you have to make. I do appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, and happiness too, I think a lot of times we think we're chasing happiness.
Mhm.
When I hit this next goal, then I'll be happy. When I accomplish this next milestone, then I'll be happy. When I make this amount of money, then I'll be happy. When I get married, when I have kids, when I get this degree, like it's always that next thing that's going to somehow all of a sudden make us happy. And then you hit it and you realize, nope, I'm still the same person that was unmarried. Now I'm married. Now I have kids. Now I have this certain amount of money. And so it's that inside to outside. Everything we want to see manifested externally starts on an internal personal growth journey.
Yeah, for that transformation. Yes. How's growth been important for you or even in working with other agents? Because I mean, you've been doing this long enough. You've watched agents and you've watched them go through that whole process. Most of them unfortunately don't make it in our business. It's not a business for everyone.
No.
But watching the ones that you've known for years and just watching them grow or even having your own personal growth, how has that been impactful for you?
Well, I think anybody who's successful at something long term is going to have to be resilient, because there is no success that you can have success for a short season. You see people come on, they have a burst of success, and then you're like, where is that person? Like they're completely gone. You have to have some kind of resiliency, because you're going to have seasons where it's really hard. You're going to have seasons where the competition kicks you. You're going to have seasons where the market shoves you down. And so I think developing resiliency, and resiliency is something, it's not either you have it or you don't. It's something that you can develop and strengthen. And I think it goes to when you are investing in your own growth and your own mindset every day, it's like a reserve. When you're investing in yourself when things are good, it's so that you have the strength when things are hard. And then actually the hard times make you more resilient, because you get strengthened through that discomfort and that pain and that trudge through it, if you will. But it's always about the journey at the end of the day. Like the goal is about who we get to become along the way. It's really not actually even about the goal.
Right. I mean, the stick to itiveness, heard that before, stick to itiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, having that, because and when you do this long enough, you have a vision, you know where it's going, and you know how we're going to get there, and you have to help give them belief too. We've talked about kind of the turnover rate. We have agents that come in still today. I still have new agents joining, which is
There's a
incredible.
lot getting in the business.
Yeah, it's
A
incredible.
lot.
So, what's some really good advice you might give them? Maybe two or three things that a brand new agent starting, they need to understand if they're going to be realistic about this being a future for them.
Gosh, several things. I think number one is that you have to treat it like a job. You're a business owner who has hired yourself as the number one revenue generating sales agent in your business. And if you don't show up every single day as the number one rock star lead generating, revenue generating sales agent, your business is not going to grow. You work for yourself, yes. So do you show up the employee you would actually hire and pay to do that job? And I think that having that kind of mindset, and again, it is always about, are we focused first and foremost on the revenue generating high dollar per hour activities, or are we getting stuck in the weeds? And not everybody wants to do those kinds of activities. They enjoy maybe the transaction or the nurturing or looking at beautiful homes. And at the end of the day, the first and foremost job when you get into real estate is you got to go find people looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And so understanding that from the get-go, I think is hugely important. And I think the other thing, as far as treating it like a job, is you work on a calendar. Yes, you have people get into this job for freedom of schedule and all of the things. And it is wonderful because yes, you can go to your kids' soccer game, and you can pick them up from school and you can do those things if you put effort, time, and priority into managing your schedule when you are working and having just super clarity around how you're going to manage your day and manage. It's not really managing your time. Time just happens. It's managing yourself in regards to your calendar and time. I think that's a hard thing for new entrepreneurs.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. Agents coming in the business, they do need to be realistic about it. It's a contractor position. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a 1090, a W-2. We're not told what to do. You got to have some entrepreneurship in you too. You got to have some grit. Many
Gotta have some
times you
drive.
find people that come in and they do it, and they find out that they don't have the natural ability just to get up and put themselves to work every day.
Right.
They're waiting for things to happen, and that's not the way the business works. No one's begging for you to sell a house or buy a house. You said something really interesting. I never thought about it this way. We have staff, right? So you have contract writers, you have VAs, you have different things like that. And some people really don't enjoy the element of where the money's really made, which is weird to me, but that is true. They don't want to get on the phone with the other agent. They don't want to have a negotiation. They don't want to make them upset, or they get all sensitive about it. That's funny because I,
That's behavioral style a lot of
yeah,
time,
like
right?
I don't, I mean, and I'm sure you appreciate it. I don't mind looking at houses, but I know I make the least amount of money doing it. And I know I make the least amount of money writing contracts or doing a lot of those things. So I've outsourced all of it, and I only focus on the way that I'm going to give the highest value to my clients and where I make the most money per hour.
Right.
That's a hard thing to people for them to transition. If they want to be successful, they're going to have to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to be signing up as another CTC person, and there's too many of them right now.
Well, and it has to there, and none of that is right or wrong. We need people to do all of those activities, and a lot of it is behavioral style, but just understanding kind of what that compensation structure looks like. You're going to make the reason people make a lot of money in real estate is because they're able to generate the revenue. And so if you want to make the kind of money that is, then you have to have that skill set and be willing to do those kinds of activities.
That's right. So let's talk about and because you've been in a leadership role, you've seen teams, you've seen individuals, kind of looking at the trends and how they've had success. Do you have individuals that have been successful and always been successful, or do you have that the ones that are joining teams find a better home and have higher success? What is your view on team building and things like that?
Yeah, so I think as far as for somebody, whether they want to join a team or build it on their own, again, I don't think it's right or wrong, good or bad, either way. I think a lot of that has to do with what your goals are, what your behavioral style is. I always tell new agents when I'm talking to them because they say, should I join a team or should I, be an individual agent? And I describe it like if this, put my cell phone on the table and I say, if your real estate business is like a car, and let's say I'm talking to a new agent or maybe I'm talking to a struggling agent that's been licensed a while, and I say, we're kind of stopped on the side of the tollway right now. And when you get behind that car to get it moving, to start your business, it's like you're going to start pushing that car from a dead stop in the heat of the Texas sun. You're going to be huffing, puffing, grunting. You're going to be pushing all your effort to get it just moving a few little centimeters and then a few inches, and you're going to keep going and you're going to be sweating and you're going to keep going, you keep going. But then eventually that car is going to get into momentum. You get to jump in the driver's side. It's your business. You take it pedal to the metal. You take it wherever you want to take it. It is your business, your brand. You can fill that car with other people who want to get on the journey with you. Joining a team is like you get into a car that's already in momentum and you jump in the back seat. And for some people, it's super important to them to be the driver of the car. And for other people, if they can just get into a car where somebody can take them where they want to go, they're great with being in the back seat and joining somebody else's business that's already in momentum. So that's kind of how I describe it. I don't think either is right or wrong, good or bad, but somebody has to kind of determine that for themselves. As far as, and sometimes it can be seasonal, right? Some people start on teams and then eventually go do it on their own. But of course, all my top agents hiring are looking for people that are going to stay with them long term, right? Not just use it as a springboard for their next step. So
I had a brokerage for 10 years. I can feel the sentiment there, right? The intention is to bring them on for them to stay, and you hope
absolutely.
that they stay long enough where you can actually return a little bit on the investment,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
because if you charge them 50-50 or something, it's hard to keep them.
Yeah.
And at that point, they're out after 3 or 4 transactions. And if you run too low, then at some point they're still going to leave because they're going to find a better, cheaper deal.
And I
It's a
think that's
hard thing.
that the mistakes agents make when they start team building is they find success, and so they are attractive to other agents that are producing less, and they want to join the team. So they become kind of people collectors, not really team builders, just people collectors, and they don't have a really strong value proposition built out. And so they hire in newer or underproducing agents who want them for mentorship. So they pour their heart and soul into taking care of these agents. And then once those agents feel like they're confident on their own, they're walking out the door, and it's not a great ROI. It's not very profitable for the business owner when they're running it like that. But I think that is a natural thing that tends to happen when an agent starts finding success in their business. It's easy to start kind of people collecting without fully building out a really strong value prop.
It's funny, I had a couple listings here in my area. I'm in the Flower Mound area, and I had the same agent sold several of them. And he's a buyer agent. He's been doing this for years. And he sells about 70, 80 buyer agent transactions, zero listings. And he's in a team. And he doesn't want to go find his own business. I mean, he's just happy with,
Yep.
and he has to give up at least half because they're not really his people, but he closes them because he knows how to close transactions. And you think closing 80 transactions a year, you'd be, 4 to 500,000 a year. Well, he probably makes $200,000 a year, but he never has to go find the business.
Well, and he gets to do the part of the business that he loves.
And that's true as well. Yeah. I
And
mean,
so
it's not to look down on. It's just interesting. I
yeah.
didn't, I think you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. I think I can handle all of those things and find a place for people to do some of those things with me. But it's just interesting that he only focuses on one side. And plus all of it, the transactions get applied to the team lead. And I know that's a negotiating strategy that everyone has different ways to do. So he doesn't show up on paper anywhere,
Yeah.
but it's almost like Redfin, right? Just that continuous employment.
Yep.
They give you the work, you do the work, we do the heavy split, and you just stay employed.
Yeah. And I mean, 200 grand is nothing to sneeze at for
Sure.
a income that is secure. And so there's probably somebody who values some security. They probably value team. And kudos to that team lead for creating a big enough business and organization that somebody can sell that many homes
Oh yeah.
and be underneath their world, right? That's always the challenge of an entrepreneur, is how do you create a big enough world so that really amazing, talented people can still grow inside your world? Because you have to keep growing or they will outgrow your organization and have to go someplace else to be able to thrive.
Sure. Let's talk about AI.
Yeah.
That affects all of our business.
Yes.
I'm sure you've heard the slogan, right? AI, it's not replacing us today. But Theresa, I'll tell you, in 10 years, who knows what that looks like. But
Mhm.
as far as it is today, AI is not replacing us, but those that use AI will be replacing us. I think that's the general sentiment of the approach to AI. So what have you seen and what have you done with it? Because you said it's an important part of your conversations with agents. How do you use AI?
So I have, I think, 3 books that every realtor and entrepreneur needs to read right now. Have you read this? The AI Driven Leader.
No.
So this book is really about the main kind of overlying thought on it is using AI as a strategic thought partner, not just a get things done, right? So if you think of AI in,
Like a coach?
yes, so you still have the human element. It's not our thought leader, it is our thought partner. It still requires us to be actively involved. But this really changed. I read this book a handful of months ago, and it kind of changed my understanding really of how I can use AI from a strategic standpoint, not just from an assistant or a get things done standpoint. And then this book is what I'm reading now, Endless Customers. Marcus Sheridan, have you heard of him?
Oh,
Okay, so he was a speaker at Keller Williams Mega Camp, and his whole he is actually a pool guy. He did fiberglass pools and became the #1 searched pool company in the world based on this model basically that he runs. But his whole teaching is about how do we use AI so that AI recommends us, because I'm sure you're like me. Instead of going to Google now, we're going to Chat GPT and saying, what's the best Mexican restaurant while I'm in whatever city?
yeah,
And we're asking it to actually recommend. And so for our businesses, we need to be strategic about how do we become the recommended agent, brokerage, whatever, mortgage professional on AI. And so it really is about providing the answers that consumers are looking for. That is how AI begins to trust us, so that we are the recommended professional. And so he talks about the 5 things, that videos and questions that we need to be answering. So there's a whole model for it. But I think
Okay.
everybody needs to be reading this and saying, okay, we've done Google SEO, and that still matters. Not that it doesn't matter anymore, but the AI is going to be the future, and making sure that we have that strategy so that we're doing the right things, so we become the recommended voice of AI.
It's fascinating, because I encourage people, like I did yesterday. A lot of we have agents in there still don't use even ChatGPT, and I said, look, you come to these classes, you're trying to grow your business, you want to be more successful. I think at a minimum, stop using Google, just use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Start there, right? I mean, don't use Google anymore.
Yeah.
That's a great start. But what's more fascinating is, like you said, I use it right now. I'm having it help me figure out a VRBO for us and our family.
Mhm.
I had it plan me a San Antonio trip. My son is 11, and he just learned about the Alamo last year. So we want to go take him to it.
I
We,
love it.
we want him to explore it and see it. So I had it find me some hotels and make sure I'm not during the busiest time. And it thinks through all these things, when the best time to go and the best price. And it located and found me, 2 options, and it planned the trip for us. So Google, you have to do all of the legwork. I
Right.
could tell AI, this is what I'm looking for, and it will know me and then do the legwork for me to find what I'm looking for, at least down to like 1 or 2 options. I think it's incredible that it's not just about retrieving something. It actually knows you well enough to know what would be the best fit.
Yes.
I think that's
So Google gives information, AI gives answers, and that's the biggest kind of difference on it. One of the prompts, though, that I've started using from the AI driven leader is to, when I put in something, I tell it, ask me more questions about this so that you understand, what I'm trying to accomplish. Because sometimes I feel like I think I give it a good prompt, and then it spits something out, and I'm like, no, 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 we need to back up a little bit. Like, we're not quite on the same page of where it's at. But if you ask it to interview you, then it starts to really, because sometimes you don't even think about what to tell it. And then, but also I would say, be sure to tell it to interview me 1 question at a time, so it doesn't just spit out a list of 20 questions. Made that mistake. And I was like, yeah, we're not doing that, buddy. Give me one of
yeah.
these at a time.
Yeah, the interaction,
Yeah.
it will inundate you. One other thing I tell people about AI, you do need it to get to know you faster, right?
Yeah.
So in the top right corner, you can build in and write out as much information about you to
Mhm.
start, and then it'll start building a persona of who you are,
Yeah.
and then it'll start advising even closer and closer to what you're looking for and what you want to do. One other space that we've talked about, you do these leadership meetings, things like that, on Zoom calls and various things. I know it's not for everyone, but I feel like there's a pretty active space for podcasting.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have, mine, I'm not talking to retail buyers and sellers. I'm talking to from agents to agents. That's a space that I want to operate in. I'm sure 99% of agents are not in that space, but it's a lot easier than they think it is. And there's a lot of opportunities for you to have conversations with people that you can record and share with others.
Yeah.
And it's just a bot, it's a bot, we call it podcasting. That's what I call it. But I think it's a great way for people to get to know you faster. What would you share with people that are just timid? I know a lot of them won't even do videos on YouTube. So this would maybe even a scarier opportunity, but there's just a way for you to dive in and get your organic self out there a lot more often. What do you think?
Well, I think that a couple things. I think that number one, you have to be on video, whether you like it or not. Whether somebody likes it. I didn't like it. I was not doing any of this a year ago. I started this whole kind of personal brand journey. Was not my desire to start a podcast. It did not start there. I totally poo-pooed the idea. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. But I started with just one kind of talking head video a week was the commitment that I made. And I posted that on Instagram, which was completely honestly out of my comfort zone. Even though I talk in front of people all of the time, I would be happy to talk into a room of thousands of people on a stage. I'd be good with that. But doing a minute and 30-second video on Instagram felt incredibly vulnerable to me and awkward. And I'm like, I don't know about this, but I did it because I believed in the importance of it. And so that helped me just get out of my comfort zone. And so I think just starting somewhere, if somebody's not doing anything, I would encourage them to start somewhere and just realize that everybody feels or most everybody feels a little bit of the discomfort. And it really isn't about what you look like, what you sound like. It's not about impressing people. Is if you can bring value to somebody, why are you going to withhold that? And so if you just think about, okay, how do I bless, not impress? How do I give a gift and make an impact and teach somebody something or share something of value? And start with that mentality, that helps strip a lot of the fear away. And then for those, who are maybe comfortable on video or looking to go to that next step, the podcast platform, it's a great personal growth journey, number one. Even if no one ever listens to your podcast, you are going to grow and learn, and you're going to make great connections along the way. So to me, you have absolutely nothing to lose. Like there is no lose in it at all. But it positions you as an expert. It puts you into great relationship with people. It creates all kinds of extra collateral because you take the podcast and then you have Instagram reels and you have YouTube shorts and you have all of this other collateral content by doing one activity that then gets you multiple returns. So I think for me, that's one of the beautiful things about the podcast. It's not just about the podcast, it's about all of the other ways that you take 30 minutes of record time and then use it to leverage it in multiple arenas.
Sure.
I mean,
It's a
what about
great
you?
idea.
You do the same thing? Is that how's I want to know from you, like, how's the podcast been beneficial for you, like in your own growth?
I have a really strange view of the future where I just keep going, even if no one's watching.
Yeah,
I know not everybody has that built in, but I know that I'm building something big. I know I've got almost 900 people in my Facebook group, which is probably the easiest sign to show success or see
awesome.
growth. But I started doing it and I posted about 7 episodes to get it started. And, it was 2, 3 views each. I mean, it didn't generate much at all. And I knew it wouldn't, but I knew that I had to stay at this for a while. And a while for me is not a year. It's probably going to be 2, 3 years. I need to have a really long run.
Yeah,
And I'll know somewhere in there if it's built me into something that I didn't expect. It could be coaching, it could be training. I'm open. It started that and it built my community. My community now gives me opportunities to have people come out and train at my office. I go out and train at other people's because I don't mind giving everything away.
mhm.
Um, I mean, Teresa, I could teach you everything that I'm doing. You're still not going to be me, but you're going to learn something.
Yeah,
The same thing from you. Like I can't be you, but you can teach me a lot of the things, and I've taken several things from you. I appreciate that. I'll have to you can send me the bill later. But there's a lot of things like we can learn and grow from each other. And there's been such an emphasis cooper on competition, and collaboration is really way more valuable for all of us. And I've finally gotten to the point where I don't understand the competition model anymore. I don't think of agents as competition. I don't. And I know a lot of us have grown into the space where I can't share anything because we're in the same market and we're competing for the same resources. I don't have resource scarcity model or mindset. I'm here giving as much away as possible, and it may turn into something I just don't know. I really don't. And
I,
I'm not actively recruiting. I haven't added anyone since I've started this, but I know that's probably a real possibility at some point too. And that would be a great secondary prize.
yeah.
Because
Well,
I love pouring into people.
I have a very similar mindset in that I am very unattached to the outcome and I'm very committed to the journey and the process. And I know I will win in the journey and the process. I am really good with wherever this leads and however this leads. And so many people quit too soon. And they think that success is going to happen. And they have kind of a time frame, like I'm going to do it a year and then it's going to be successful. And man, just the best of the best. You think about how much reps they do over and over that nobody watches, nobody sees, nobody cares about, nobody likes on, social media. And you put in all of those reps before you really, but actually before you really even get good. That's part of it. It's part of it is that we have to have a journey to become really good. And then even when you're really good, people aren't paying attention. And so many people just drop off. So I think a lot of winning is just outlasting everybody else who's quit along the way. Just keep going.
Absolutely.
Love that.
And we were
That's awesome.
We're talking about video and stuff. I kind of brought us back there because you do have, you've mentioned it, Upside podcast. That's the only thing I think you really were looking to promote. Is there anything else that you wanted to share or promote as well?
Oh, I mean, follow me on Instagram. Would love to I'm always looking just to connect with amazing human beings in this industry that want to grow. And yeah, the upside though, that's been just my fun pet project. And you go to theresaflood.com. If you are a leader in any capacity, I send out on my episodes drop on Tuesdays, and then on Thursdays, I'll send out a training guide that you can use for team meetings, mastermind conversations, kind of based on the episodes. There's a little item of value, but yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
What about you? And
I love it. That's very, I mean, I appreciate all that. And is this broker neutral for your things that you offer in leadership and things like
yeah,
that?
totally broker neutral. Yep. Yep.
That's good. I think a lot of agencies have had to move to that. Otherwise, they just end up being competing with everyone and then they're not growing.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather see all of us grow. And wherever we go and land and whatever agency or brokerage you're at, I don't have a lot of high things to say about brokerages in general. And it's not the broker brand. It's brokers don't sell real estate, agents do.
Yeah.
So the entire model in the last 20 years, everything is completely flipped upside down. So
Mhm.
I can work anywhere. And I'm the one that's going to have to be the one that does the work. And if I leave a brokerage, all my clients go with me. So
Yep.
at the end of the day, you've really got to make sure you've got all that set up correctly and don't look to the broker for the answers. I just think that's something I think most of us should draw from. The Upside podcast, do you have a quick synopsis? What do you cover in there?
Really anything about getting you unstuck in life and business. So it's a lot of mindset, a lot of leadership. Some of the episodes are solo. And if it's just me sharing something from my heart, it's like 8 to 12 minutes. So it is literally, a drive to your office. It's a quick run on the treadmill, super short and sweet. You listen to like 1.5 speed. And you're going to get great value really fast. And then I do some of my episodes are interviews. And so my episode that dropped this week was Dr. Tony Bridwell, and he teaches at the doctorate level program at SMU on organizational health and leadership, and just wrote a book called Beyond the Leader. He is brilliant. It was my longest interview yet because I just wanted to keep picking his brain on building culture in an organization, establishing trust. He had so much. You just go listen to that one in and of itself. He was awesome. So it's fun. It's fun. You get to talk to different people, and yeah. And
Well,
Rick
I love it, Teresa.
USA, I have to give him a big plug because Rick produces the Upside and he is just spectacular. So it would not happen doing all the behind the scenes.
Yeah, Rick's one of he pointed to you before I heard from Michelle and Ashley. It was actually Rick that said, man, you really need to talk to Teresa. And this is January of this year.
Well,
So I actually remember exactly where I was when he told me.
Appreciate that. And he has believed in me from the beginning and took a chance on me with just kind of going all in with the Upside with me. So
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, Teresa. I've got your contact. We're going to post that. We're going to promote your Upside podcast. And anything else that you want to share later, we'll make sure we get all that information shared as well. So all of you, thank you for joining Real Estate Success DFW. If you have not subscribed, please do. I'm going to continue to bring you really good interviews, just like Teresa. I've got a few more. I can't tell you what they are, but I've got a few more coming that are going to be really good for your business and growing yourself in real estate. So until then, have a successful high performance week, and we'll see you next time.
That wraps up another episode of Real Estate Success DFW. I hope you're leaving with new insights that push your real estate career forward. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with fellow agents who's ready to succeed. And if you're interested in working together or have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me directly. My personal phone is 214-228-0383. Let's connect and make real estate success happen together. Until next time, keep pushing forward. I'm Shaune Corbett, and this is the Real Estate Success DFW. Have a high performance week.